Hi, and welcome to Men, Women and Happiness. My name is Scott McLaughlin.
And I'm Leanne Kansler, and we're very excited today to introduce you to ourselves and to our podcast.
Yeah, we just wanted to give you a bit of an overview about how we came together, why we came together, and what we really hope to achieve. So, Leanne and I met on LinkedIn last year, and I was in the midst, I think, of doing 100 interviews with 100 men in 100 days. And I had come across Leanne's TED Talk on men's suicide and thought, wow, we should catch up. So we did, and we saw a bit of alignment, wouldn't you say, Leanne?
Absolutely, yes. It was really interesting. I really saw in Scott a perspective in men that I was looking for. So as a woman, I can only see so much. I can have empathy for men. I can have an understanding of men. But being able to actually speak to a man about these issues and him not being my client is completely different. And I think that's where we really came into alignment, because I really want to be able to help men in relationship and outside of relationship, because when we do that, it actually helps women and helps children as well. And so the podcast is really about helping men and women, not just men or women, which a lot of relationship podcasts and that are actually about one or the other. But we really want to talk to both sides of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things that we agreed on was how interconnected men's and women's issues are, and how some of the content out there that talks to, or man blames, if you like, really doesn't help women get the best out of men. And from a skill set point of view, I can assure you that there's a lot of things that men don't have, aren't taught, and don't have in their social networks that really holds them back from contributing in more meaningful ways to relationships.
Absolutely. And same with women. Women think that, they are designed for conversation and automatically have great conversation skills, but that's just not the truth. I literally read something yesterday where a woman was saying the only time a man should cry is when his father dies and when his first child was born. And I'm thinking, what about all the other children, and what about his mother? Like, that is such a weird way of thinking about things.
And, it really is. I mean, gee whiz, she would hate me because I cried during the X Factor. So, I cry when I see people doing amazing things and putting themselves out there, and that sort of thing.
Why should we stifle who we are and stifle our emotions? So I guess it's important that you guys know where we come from in terms of a little bit of our experience. So I am a registered psychologist and also a coach. And a lot of my focus is on relationships. So I see a lot of couples, and as a coach, my focus is actually on helping people to move on successfully or to thrive after a divorce or a breakup. So I'm seeing people through all different stages of life, men and women. And it really is a beautiful thing to dig deep and to see what is going on for people. And often it is about trauma, and it's about dropping back into their childhood and creating long-lasting change and helping people to understand why they are responding or reacting to the things that they are in the way that they are. And I want to bring some of that knowledge to the listeners, and I also want to bring some of my personal experience. I have been divorced. I was in a long-term marriage that was not a good marriage. Let's just put it that way. You'll hear more about that as you get to know us. But that marriage really taught me a lot about myself, about relationships, and I really do want to be able to share some of those experiences and those learnings along the way.
Yeah, and for me, look, I'm an accidental mouthpiece. I really started, exploring my issues with trust. And they have come about through a lot of, adversarial things that have happened in my life, which you'll learn more about. But also they've caused me a great deal of struggle in relationships. And as I was investigating trust, I started a blog a couple of years ago now called softenthefuckup.com. And all I was trying to explore was how I got to where I got to, and the sort of upbringing I had, and what implications it had for me in the way I was able to relate, communicate my feelings, or even be there for somebody else. So thus the 100 interviews, because I wanted to check in with other guys to see whether my experiences were familiar.
Yeah, that's right. I remember when I first saw that title, Soften the Fuck Up, I think that's what really made me go, wow, who is this guy? I love that. So good. And the other thing that we want to do is interview guests. So 2 different type of guests that I'll tell you about. The first one, and Scott will hopefully remember what I mean when I say the second type of guest. But the first one is professionals, so people who actually have skin in the game, have a lot of education, a lot of understanding about relationships and how things work on a very deep level. So we would love to be able to interview people of that caliber as well. So it's not just going to be us and our opinions, it's going to be other people as well.
Yeah, and on that, I'd say that one of the things that I do want to declare up front is that Leanne and I agreed that this podcast is to be an exploration, not an examination. So we don't necessarily come to conclusions, but what we want to do is discover, explore, and dig into issues that people find difficult to speak about or don't speak about, and so on and so forth. And the second kind of guest we want is you. One of the things that really got me about doing those interviews last year was that the anonymity of it was so incredible for men, and what they were prepared to share with me was so rich. And it was because they were anonymous. So we'd be happy if you want to show your face. We'd also be happy if you don't, because what we want you to do is come forward with things that you've experienced or things that you're curious about or things that you wonder about in, your dynamic, be you a man or a woman, be you gay, straight, however you identify. Again, Leanne and I aren't trying to be definitive about anything, really. We just want to explore, how people are experiencing the world, and how both men and women are brought into the world, and what implications that has for how we relate.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to also recognize that both of us started this sort of journey of connecting because of our intention of working with men, of changing the way men think about themselves, and how society has really changed the way it discusses men's issues and puts men down and shames them, and the toxic masculinity and all of that stuff. And I really wanted to help men because I want to help women and children. Because as a psychologist and coach, I can see that the majority of my clients are women, even though I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into trying to reach out to men, and I just couldn't do it. The male clients that I did get were and are amazing. Like, they really dig deep and they really do the work, and the shifts that they have is magnificent. However, reaching men is so much harder. And so my intention was really to help men to break the cycle, whether it be a violence cycle or a failed relationship cycle or whatever other kind of cycle that men have gotten themselves into, so that we can help women and children. And what I found is that didn't always work out. So instead, what I'm doing is focusing on whoever shows up, whoever rings me, whoever contacts me. That's who I work with. And I don't focus on gender at all. It's just whoever feels called to work with me, that's who I work with.
And look, from my perspective, I think that particularly having interviewed that many guys, it is very clear that men don't understand themselves. Mm-hmm. Well, from what I've seen anyway, it appears to be clear. I shouldn't say very clear. It appears to be clear that men don't understand themselves, and that most definitely that is a huge imposition for women. I mean, how are they supposed to understand what a man is, how he feels, all those sorts of things, if you can't verbalize that, or if you can't even connect with it? So I think there's a lot of work to do on that front, but also I do believe that a lot of the commentary around men and a lot of the man bashing that's out there is so it's so damaging to the cause of actually people just being happy and happy in themselves and happy in relationship, I think Brene Brown would say we're born for connection, but we're going to struggle with it if we continue to have this great divide of women haters, which there are and many out there, and man haters, right? So that's why Leanne and I wanted to come together and kind of give this a crack and try to keep it as balanced as we can.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Scott. Really looking forward to what comes out of these conversations. And I really want to invite anyone listening to connect with us, to send us questions, topic suggestions, or anything else that you would like. We're very happy and open to hear what you've got to say. And if you want to be a guest, just check out the bio. There will also be a link to my TED Talk there, TEDx actually. That talk is not publicly available because it was deemed to be potentially disturbing, because as Scott mentioned, I do talk about male suicide and domestic violence in men being abused. And TEDx thought that topic was a bit too disturbing to actually be released to the public. So you can only see it with the link that will be in the bio.
Yeah, and again, I want to reinforce that encouragement to come forward. We're just two people with two sets of experiences, and I guess whilst we've tried to traverse this space probably more than most, there's a lot of things that maybe we've missed. I'd also say that nothing's taboo on this channel, so bring it forward, and we'd be happy to explore it and discuss it. So really do invite you to just give us some ideas about what are the things that are troubling you or have troubled you in the past that you'd like for us to just dig into and have a chat about.
Absolutely. We are, as you said, just two people wanting a conversation. We're not proclaiming to know everything or be expert at absolutely everything or anything really. We're always learning.
Exactly. So thanks so much for listening to our first episode. We hope you'll join us for number 2, where we get to learn a lot more about Leanne. Again, thanks for listening, and we hope to hear from you. We hope that you'll hear from us soon, and you will be listening soon. Cheers.
Excellent. Bye.